Paimon's trying to remember. What else did we put on our shopping list? Oh, what a mouth-watering smell. Paimon would know the aroma of biryani anywhere. Let's go get... we can still add it to the list.
Well, if it isn't the Traveler and Paimon. Wasn't expecting to see you here.
Hello there.
Huh, so you two are still hanging out together. Dia, didn't you say last time that you were gonna...
I said I was going to resign from being her bodyguard, not that our friendship was over. We're still the best of friends. The Homayanis also still post jobs from time to time. Their pay is always generous, so me and the other mercs never pass them up.
I told Dia to just stay at our place when she took one of those jobs a few days ago. My parents were delighted. They even said that it always felt like we were missing someone whenever Dia wasn't around.
That sounds like something they would say, all right. Anyway, the job is already taken care of, so I was gonna head back to the brigade as soon as I finished a little shopping. But the master kept insisting, and I ended up staying for another day.
You can stay for as many days as you want, Dia. Father hasn't even gotten around to treating you to his best dishes.
You know I'm not the kind of person to stay put in one place like that, my lady. Don't worry, though. There'll always be next...
What? She said they'll treat you to the best dishes!
But wait. Didn't you say last time that you would take me on a trip to the desert? Why don't you just take me with you to... There are so many places I still haven't visited.
I'm sorry, my lady, but no can do. There's still a few things I need to take care of back at the brigade. Besides,
Oh, come on. Not this again. That's also what you said last time, and the...
I know, I'm sorry. Just give me some more time, and I promise...
All right, fine. To be perfectly honest, it's not that I wanted to go, it's more... Ever since you first set foot on the estate a few days ago, you've been acting anxious and even paranoid. Have you been delaying our trip because you've run into some kind of trouble?
Nah, are you kidding? You're worrying too much.
Would you swear on that? Friends shouldn't lie to each other, you know. I wouldn't pry any further if you're willing to swear on what you just said. But if something really is bothering you...
Oh, looks like Dunyarzad was onto something.
You're too perceptive, my lady. Seems like... I just thought that nothing good could come out of telling you about the messy happenings of mercenaries. Mercenary life is a dog-eat-dog world where Mora reigns supreme. Everything operates on a completely different set of rules.
That doesn't change anything about what I just said, though. We're still friends, and I can only...
My lady... You're not gonna stop until you drag it out of me, are ya? All right, I'll share what I know. Let's go somewhere else for... Okay, let's talk here. Just try not to draw any extra attention. As you may already know, the Eremites have both a lot of mercenaries and a complex organizational structure. Many mercs are no different than me. Just go... My brigade is called the Blazing Beasts. We're not a large group, but every member is loyal. However, not all Eremite brigades are like mine. Some are willing to cross all kinds of lines for the sake of Mora. The most notorious is a faction known as Deshret's Relics.
Deshret's Relics? Judging from the name, they must really look up to...
Yep, you got it. I've heard that you've already crossed paths with Ain al-Akmar. They're one of the groups under the Relic's banner.
Oh, you mean the group that tried to sell us the Divine Knowledge Capsule? Yeah, they weren't friendly at all.
Deshret's Relics is composed of many smaller brigades like Ain al-Akmar. The Relic's headquarters issues orders to all brigades under his control. On any other day, I would want nothing to do with them. Unfortunately, though, the brigade that's stirring up trouble now is none other than Dakan al-Akmar.
Dakan?
I think it means beard or something. Believe me, it's a really stupid name. I found it insufferable for years. Anyway, the real issue is that Dakan al-Akmar is led by my father, Kusela.
Say what now?
I think I'm starting to understand your anxiety now.
I won't go into details, my lady, but they've been involved in a lot of violent incidents.
Hundreds?
Yep. The scenes tend to be quite gruesome, too. They strip the victims of all their valuables before murdering them. Not only have they targeted merchant caravans and ordinary citizens, but...
That's beyond terrible. They won't even spare their...
I don't know how Deshret's Relic sees it. All I do know is that Dakan al-Akmar has become more and more aggressive. If I don't do something about them, then even my brigade or the people of Aru Village could become their next target. I just wish I knew what's driven him to do this.
Yeah. How can your father do such terrible things?
I don't know. People change. He's always been pretty pathetic. But at least in the past, there were still a few lines that he would...
That's setting the bar pretty low.
I mean, if he was even remotely decent, then why would I have to leave the brigade and cut all ties with him? He was loud and foolish, with no real sense of purpose. Instead of doing anything useful, he spent most of his time drinking and chasing after women. Of course, the other brigade members were just like him. Their ruckus would go on night after night.
Sounds like a nightmare.
What about your mother? Did she ever step in to stop them?
Unfortunately, I never knew my mother. It's all right, my lady. That's pretty common in mercenary circles. Didn't I mention that my father was chasing after women? He told me that he wasn't sure who my mother was. And in any case, she never... He'd say, "You'll be fine as long as you remember to stick with Dad." But even then, he left most of the parenting to the brigade. The one thing I do remember is that he used to tell me stories. But the problem was that he had terrible taste. He only knew a few stories, and even those tended to be pretty stale. They were tales of desert warriors defeating dragons in the forest, or stories of mercenaries rescuing princesses from rebel armies.
Sounds like your typical fairy tales.
More or less, yeah. They were interesting maybe the first or second time around, but after about 20 repeats, they started... He seemed to think those stories were the best things ever, though. He was so into them that he'd call the whole brigade over and make them perform the... Even the toys he gave me would all be story props. I'd get helmets, shields, and toy swords. It was only much later when I realized that the shows were more for him than they ever were for me.
What an interesting guy.
Yeah, I've always found him pretty childish, but that was something I could just shrug off. I had no reason until I grew up and learned the true face of Deshret's Relics for myself. Looting, blackmail, violence, and fraud. They not only accepted such... No one in the brigade was any kind of hero. Instead, my father and his cronies were more like the bad guys that needed to be taken down. Did they really think that as long as they didn't do any of that stuff right in front of me, I would never know?
I think I can understand your feelings. The difference between perception and reality must have hit hard.
Yeah, but don't worry, my lady. It's all water under the bridge to me now. I had a huge argument with my father and left that place behind for good. I'm not investigating them due to any bitter feelings I still have towards my father. I just want to protect those. Yeah, I told the boys to gather as much information as they could. Most of the reports concern violent incidents, but there's also...
I see. But isn't...
It is, but every mercenary lives life on the edge. It's a lifestyle.
That may be true, but it'll be impossible for those who care about you not to worry.
Well, now you get why I didn't want to share any of this with you.
What should we do? They both have
Huh? But there's no need for you to get caught up in this.
Well, he's super tough, so if he went into the desert with you, then Paimon bets the problem would be...
I'm inclined to agree. I'll wait for news from you in the city until then.
I'm honored that you... All right, then let's get moving. Our first stop will be Caravan Rebot.
Hey, Dia, you're back. Are these two friends of yours? Oh, so you've already become like one of... Anyway, since we've got a newcomer, let me fill you in on what the Khan al-Ahmar... They've become extremely aggressive. Apparently even their own now. They even attack other relics brigades, just the same as any other mercenary brigade.
Even the most ferocious beasts still protect their own. But it sounds like they've thrown that straight to the wind.
That's right. Once they've collected enough loot off the other mercenaries, they sell it off to a different brigade, or turn to merchants on the black market. A portion of their profits is immediately exchanged for more food and weaponry to be used in their next violent operation.
That's terrible!
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder why they're so desperate for Mora. A few days ago, Isham and I trailed them for a while, and even disguised ourselves as merchants to conduct trade with them. We were able to learn a few things from the exchange. Rather than saying they're out to plunder and hoard Mora, it'd probably be more accurate to say that they're experiencing an internal power struggle.
Wait, a power struggle?
You heard me right. The vast majority of their victims are mercenaries from the other brigades of Deshret's relics. If their only goal was Mora, they could have gone after anybody. The targeted nature of their attacks points to a power struggle between the different brigades within the relics. That's the only plot. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find out anything more specific. It seems there are... Oh, one last thing we discovered was that over the past few years, as the Khan al-Ahmar became more and more active, Deshret's relics as a whole became a lot weaker.
It sounds mighty strange to me too. Harun, you can leave the rest of the investigation to us. Gotta say though, I didn't expect you to go on a whole undercover mission during the few days I was gone. Sounds like you were really putting your necks on the line, no?
Nah, it was nothing. We're just as concerned about the situation as you are. The Khan al-Ahmar is your father's crew after...
What he said. Besides, Dia, haven't you done more dangerous things than all of us combined?
Yeah. And while they went to talk with Khan al-Ahmar, I took a look at the last camp they attacked. Any survivors of the attack were already long gone. There was nothing of value.
Ah, Hisham and Khalaf.
We rushed over as soon as we saw you come into Caravan Rebat. Although this new friend of yours looks a little green behind the ears, I'm sensing a spec. Now that we know you'll have a capable partner with you, we can also rest easy.
Hey, what about Paimon? Feel anything special?
Oh, you're also planning?
Of course! Paimon is the traveler's most important guide, wherever he...
Oh, in that case, then you'd better take care of her too.
Don't underestimate Paimon!
Don't worry about her. She may look tiny and helpless, but she's been through just as many battles as the Traveler here. Even if she had only survived on sheer luck, then that alone would still make her quite formidable.
I had no idea. I guess I shouldn't...
Oh, one other thing, Dia. When you're free, why don't you update the deputy about your upcoming schedule? We held another recruitment event a few days ago, but everyone only came to see the Flame Mane. You weren't around at the time, so people were pretty disappointed to only find our crew of rough, unkempt guys. The deputy put a lot of effort into the event, but it was basically for nothing. Only a few people chose to stay, and that really got to him.
Sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to bring him some great liquor next time. I left in a hurry and I couldn't make it back.
Gotta admit, I can understand their disappointment, though. You're our brigade's main selling point, after all. Now, if only the deputy could figure out a way to bring a few more smoking hot members into our ranks.
Keep dreaming. Remember the last time I invited a couple gals into the brigade? You all just froze up with your mouths gaping like a bunch of scarecrows. The awkward silence and weird expressions left quite the impression on them. They were originally interested in joining us, but after that, they both told me they were too uncomfortable.
Hey, didn't we agree to never bring that up again?
Huh? Wait, are you serious? Why have I never heard about this?
I don't think you were part of the brigade yet.
Are you kidding me? I missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment like...
All right. We can tell you about it later.
Hey, don't you try to change the subject. You and Hisham get your butts over here.
Are they?
There aren't many rules or graces when it comes to mercenaries. We're used to just speaking our minds. If someone starts getting under your skin, you just yell right back at them. And if that doesn't put an end to it... But we also don't tend to take many things too seriously. Being direct and getting it all... That's also why I never spare their feelings when I talk to them. If I want to laugh, I'll laugh. If I'm angry, then I'll... Hey, knuckleheads! Can you at least tell me the rest of the intel before...
Yeah, you hear her, Holloff? Told you we gotta focus on the investigation first. I drew up a map. All you gotta do is wait and ambush them.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Be sure to pass my regards to...
Will do. You...
This should be the place. Let's find a spot to hide and bide our time. It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another, so let's all be careful.
No need to worry. He knows his way around a fight.
I'm not worried about that. What I meant is that we probably shouldn't go too hard on the enemy. After all, we still need to get information out of him. Ah, here they come. You ready? Let's not give them a chance to react. Buckle up!
That's close enough. Feeling lucky today?
Hi! Cha! Kya! Hi! You ain't messing around!
I'll take my leave. Where do you think you're going?
Let's get it on!
Just leave.
Hi!
I'll be... You won this one. You're the Flame Mane.
Good. That saves me an introduction. All right, time for a little talk.
You know the code of being a mercenary just like everyone else. The first rule is to never divulge key information about our employer. What makes you think I'd talk?
That might have worked on an amateur, but I know you're just looking to protect your rep. Think about it, though. What's your reputation worth if you won't have the other tools you need to succeed in this line of work? You've got 5 seconds. You might want to think twice about how much your employer's information is.
Whoa!
I'm not joking around. We can do this the easy way. 2 seconds!
I'll save you the trouble.
Huh? Are you crazy? He tried to bite off his own tongue. Quick, search the area for any first aid supply. I definitely didn't expect him to go that far. Thankfully, the wound wasn't too deep.
But why would he be...
I just wanted to test his mettle. You can get a lot of mercenaries to... I didn't expect him to be willing to go through so much pain just to deny us some intel.
Well, he's out cold for now. We could wait for him to wake up, but maybe it...
Yeah, don't worry about it. It'll be a waste of time to interrogate him again after that. He might just hurt... There are lots of goods around here.
We found a piece of paper with a bunch of names on it. Maybe it's a
Let me take a look. If this really is a merchant caravan, they Yep. I see an entry for Dakana Lakmar right here. Kusela, Idrisi, Bashar, and Takriti. All familiar names. Dakana Lakmar has been trading for a hefty supply of food, weapons, and medicine. It seems that in the this caravan is just one link in their logistics chain. Once in the rainforest, the caravan will exchange the looted goods for Mora, and that person will then pack the caravan full of necessary goods, which will then be brought right back to Dakana Lakmar. Wait, why is there no Mora value recorded for the final transaction?
No value.
Yeah, every transaction before the last one was marked. Perhaps. But they couldn't have known how much they would make off selling the loot. Anyway, the next part's the records of the goods themselves. There are a lot of entries. Everything was probably... Huh?
What's wrong?
Shazaman Homayani?
Homoyani? You mean Junior's, Could it...
I'd be surprised to find someone with the exact same first and last name. Shazamon Homayani is Dunyarzad's... Just what the heck is going on here? I'm sorry, you're right. But what this piece of paper confirms is that
What if the Homayanis have been kept in the dark and don't know they've been trading with Dakan?
That's a possibility. But if that was the case, why is this caravan specifically named Sha? They could have just as easily bought goods such as food and medicine. Yeah, funding violence and looting. The brigade gets the goods.
But why would he do something like this?
I've been to their estate many times, and I've never noticed anything. The only potentially large expenditure I could think of would be the treatment costs for Dunyarzad's Elazar. Maybe they borrowed a lot of... But that's still just a speculation. I don't think the Master would stoop so... You're probably right. I know my lady's personality, and she wouldn't
But what should we do now? All we found...
If you ask me, we already have no choice. I'm not worried. It's too early to... Let's go find my lady again. If we're lucky, we...
Dia, are you sure this is the best decision? What if instead of getting the help we need...
I've considered that possibility. But even still, I want to tell her what we found. She showed genuine concern for me when we first... That's not how I deal with...
You're right. Paimon wants to trust...
Yeah. We're back, my lady.
Oh, you're back a lot sooner than I expected. You mustn't have run into any...
Actually, we're still investigating. It's just that...
I see. The clues you found have led you...
Something like that.
You all look a little... dispirited. Whatever you found, why don't you discuss it with me?
It's okay, my lady. It's not so much about me being upset with my father or anything like that.
So something is wrong. Even the Traveler and Paimon have... On any other day, Paimon would have already waved to me with a smile and shouted, Dunyarzad! So tell...
My lady, please prepare yourself for what we're going to tell you next.
The Master. Okay, I understand. My father has been...
Yeah, it makes as little sense to us as it does. I've never doubted the Master's integrity, so I'm having a real hard time rationalizing how he... Maybe he's not actually aware of the full story.
I can't help but agree with the Traveler.
Huh? You mean you feel the same way?
Thank you for sharing all this information with me. Since you've told me everything you know, I should also tell you about... In the past, I thought that my father hired a bodyguard for me so that I wouldn't run away and get lost. However, there are plenty of capable mercenaries in the Corps of 30. Why did...
About that. Well, the Homayanis really needed bodyguards, so they reached out to the Blazing... Later, the Master told me that I was one of the best mercenaries he'd ever seen, and that I should stick around to become one of his bodyguards. He offered me a pile of mora, so...
Well, but that didn't really answer my question. Just think about it.
Maybe the Corps of 30 just didn't have anyone available, or maybe someone recommended us. I've never given it too much. I think I get what you're saying.
Precisely. At first glance, nothing seemed strange. If my father had always been in contact with the Khan al-Akmar, then it would make sense for him to bring Dia into our house.
You mean the goal all along was to get Dia to be your bodyguard?
No, that's too much of a stretch. I cut all ties with my father a long time ago. He has no control over my life anymore.
But that still doesn't rule out the possibility that your father has still been trying to influence your life without you.
So, the Master was not likely an innocent victim at all?
Sorry we put all of this on you so suddenly, Junior Zod.
It's okay, Paimon. I should actually be thanking you. Regardless of his reasons, if my father has truly been funding a violent group of mercenaries...
But is that really the... My father has committed many atrocities and deserves all the punishment that he has coming to him. I have zero sympathy for him. However, the Homayani family has treated me with nothing but generosity and kindness. If we decide to investigate this further, we could end up implicating the entire Homayani family. I would be biting the hand.
Dia.
It's all right, Dia. If anyone were to ask, you could always just say that I'm the one who instructed you to get to the bottom.
You don't have to do that, my lady. I'm not conflicted because I'm afraid of taking responsibility.
Hey! It's still too early to give up hope! What was that thing about friendship again? Right, yeah, trust! You said that. Besides, there's no point on getting all riled up before we've confirmed all the facts.
Thank you, everyone. That makes a lot of sense. I guess I should always remember the... In which case, my lady, could you ask the Master to come out and have a chat with us?
Sure thing. I also hope he'll be able to give us a...
Usual?
Thank you for coming, sir. Please allow me to introduce these two. This is the Traveler, and next to him...
Ah, yes. My daughter has mentioned them from time to time. But we may skip all the pleasantries for now. What is the important
Well, we wanted to bring this transaction record to your attention. There's some...
So, that's what you found? Huh. Seems like I can't...
If you wouldn't mind, we'd like an explanation.
Well, it's a long and difficult story. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if... What I do know, though, dear, is that the truth will bring you no solace. If anything, it will...
Wait, me?
Yes. I understand perfectly why you came to see me. And I am touched by your collective commitment to do the right thing. But knowledge always comes at a price. And sometimes your father, Kusela, and I both believed that. Of course, you have the right to seek and learn the truth, but I must warn you. The facts of this matter may reduce everything you've built for yourself into sand, blowing in the wind. If you must proceed, then Kusela's heartfelt efforts will also fade into the...
His heartfelt efforts? I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not sure I've made it this far in life without a single drop of my father's support. I have my own ideals and ways of looking at the world, as well as people and causes that I've chosen to cherish and fight for. I came here today to support you as the head of the Homayani family. No warning will change my stance on...
I understand. Then let me tell you, our family once needed to take a trip to the desert when Dunyarzad was just a baby. Along the way, we were attacked. They had superior numbers and quickly overpowered our bodyguards. When all seemed lost, a group of passerby Eremites lent us. Those Eremites were Kusela's brigade, Dekan al-Ahmar. Kusela's men told me that the attackers were Eremite mercenaries, just like themselves. I was shocked. Kusela was grinning and walked over to play with baby Dunyarzad. She was startled by his unfamiliar face and nearly started crying.
Really?
He said that he had no particular reason to help us. He just took pity on us because he had a daughter about the same age. We started talking about our children, and I sensed that he was a devoted father. To repay his kindness, I hired his brigade to help out at our estate for a time, and...
So, that's what happened.
It was many years before I saw him again. I almost didn't recognize him the next time he came knocking on my door. The man I knew to be strong and healthy had been reduced to a shell.
So, what happened to him? He was perfectly fine when I left the brigade.
I'm not too sure myself. The only thing that didn't change was his cheery disposition. He said there was He then suddenly asked me if Dunyarzad, now that she had grown, would need a bodyguard of her own. At the time, Dunyarzad was going through a particularly severe bout of her Elazar. There was no need for her to... But he kept coming back to the topic. Come on, it never hurts to be... I was completely lost at first, until he recommended the Blazing Beasts. And in particular...
So he was the one who recommended...
Indeed. He didn't say it out loud, but it was clear that he saw Deshret's relics as an evil group who would eventually corrupt every member. He was already beyond redemption, but he hoped that he would be able to detach his daughter from the vicious... If Dia could stay in my house and keep working as a bodyguard, then gradually her affinity for the desert would decrease.
And that's why you offered her such generous...
Yes, but not just because of that. From the moment that he asked me for that favor, And that's also why I tried to persuade you to stay when you asked for permission to leave. I was willing to spend however much it took. Kusela saved my daughter and I all those years ago in the desert. I could never refuse him entrusting his daughter to me.
He was always like that, acting like he's oh so smart and...
Kusela said that he'd reimburse me for a portion of Dia's fees. I refused to take any more of... Eventually, I just accepted them as a token of his gratitude. And that went on for a while until I received a... The letter contained a request to help him buy food.
Wait! Isn't that around the time that Decano Akhmar started...
That's right. When I started to hear some nasty rumors, I became wary. But by then, he was no longer receptive to my requests to talk. If I had to guess, it's probably because he doesn't want to put Dia at risk. That thought occurred to me as well. After some deliberation, I decided I am aware that even such a reduced gesture of support could lead to others coming to harm, but in the end, it probably was the wrong decision. I plugged my ears to the rumors and just chose a solution that made me...
If you can, please tell me where he is now. None of the things he's doing right now make any sense if he's just trying to keep me from getting... If all he wants to do is steer clear of me, then maybe he shouldn't have brought me into this...
Oh no, Dia...
I'm just angry because I can't wrap my head around any of his actions. Another way? I don't know. I knew him and he was nothing more, but I guess you do have a point. We haven't uncovered the whole truth yet. We still need to figure...
I'll do my best to help. Of course, anything between the two of you would need to be... I don't know Kusela's exact whereabouts. Outside of supplying his brigade with some goods, I tried my best. However, there's a man on the list named Jawed. He used to be a... He's responsible for supplying weapons and liaising. I've heard that he likes to have a few drinks alone and enjoy the cool...
Understood. Thank you.
I'll stay and be with my father here. My father has indeed done something wrong, but if I think about it, I'm also not sure if there was a right way to handle this problem. I feel like our only course of action is to turn everything we know over to the core of 30 and let them render judgment.
Yes. I am prepared to accept whatever... It's time to face my mistakes.
Who are you?
I know what you've been up to. Smuggling weapons to violent brigades in the desert while working for the Corps. Pretty...
Shh! Keep your voice down. Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. I'll be happy to talk things over. This place should do. All right. Back to my question.
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face once we
Wait. There's no need to jump the gun. Let's talk this...
So what's in it for you anyway, Mora?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time, and Kusela took good care of me in the past. I weighed it in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down. I wouldn't only be helping my benefactor, but I could also make some quick Mora.
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating Khan al-Akmar, and we're gonna put an end to their... If you provide some help for us, then we might just put in a good word later to...
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen, I made quite a bit of Mora from my last run.
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary is after something.
All right, sheesh. But you gotta promise you'll put in some nice work. They're always on the move. Here's the spot they were at the last time I made my delivery to the desert. Feel free to go have a look. I'm just telling you, though, it's not on me if they're...
Sure. And then you can forget about it.
Hey, come on. Now you're just
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into a trap? Don't forget, you're the...
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not there anymore, I'll try to figure out...
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to... Seems like we're in luck. That should be their... Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves.
Just following orders.
I'm here to see Kusela. Tell him to get out here.
Tia, why are you here?
Dodge this! Cool it!
Haven't you all done enough?
Oh, so are you also here to stop us?
Stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you.
Don't get frostbite. Look alive! Hi!
She's so strong.
Enough fighting. We all know each other, and I don't want to take things too far. Just bring Kusela to me. There's no use. Did you understand a single word I just said?
All right, everyone, let's all just calm down for a sec. Dia. He died. A long time ago.
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though. At least, that's what the old man...
When did he die? What happened?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up Dakan al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's Relics headquarters by himself.
So is that when you guys started acting up?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person...
Let me start from the beginning. Dia.
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable authority.
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough. Regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced, every person in Deshret's Relics were forced to leave a record of themselves at headquarters, whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit. That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. Me, Bashar, Tikrit, but you, Dia. You were never asked.
I never even knew this was a requirement.
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's Relics who didn't know about it.
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from this organization's sinister... Not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues we had to pay. But in the end, he was just an ordinary person. What could he do? He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records. He'd come up with all kinds of excuses and get beaten up as a result.
We all knew he was doing that for you. He wanted to get you out of this world, no matter what it took.
And that's why he became a shell of himself and couldn't walk without a cane.
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense. I didn't know about any of this. And
because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight.
So, even the blazing beasts were...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you, you probably would have been reduced to a pulp before you ever left the desert.
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then, and we all assumed he was going... I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need. His words made no sense to me. But that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to ash.
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled, not just from our ranks, but from the other brigades as well. But how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us who knew exactly what it...
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks at headquarters took him from us.
From that point on, the sole purpose of Dakan, the big fire that Boss started, was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. It's given us the opportunity to launch, even though we're outnumbered. We vowed to see our revenge through to the... There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. Some fled to other brigades, and others escaped to the rainforest. But we won't let any of them escape our wrath. They'll all pay for...
We've suffered plenty of losses as well. To keep going, we need an enormous amount of supplies. All we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that. We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. Thankfully, many people were willing. We were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. We've endured unspeakable pain to win many impossible. Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now we finally have an opportunity.
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. We do not deserve. Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. Those we used to always laugh at him for it. But in the end, he really went. As for me, I never considered myself a hero. We're all the lowest of the low. But maybe those hero stories he liked foreshadowed everything that was to come. Maybe we were all just acting along with the play in the beginning. But as we acted the parts and recited the lines, we were drawn in. And now, I'm sorry, Dia. I know you always found us insufferable ever since you were young. Just...
I'll go with you.
Huh? Dia?
I grew up with these guys, and I know they're not bad people. It's just that some situations get so bad. All I know is that Deshret's relics must... Furthermore, I want to go see the place for myself. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along. I can do this on my own.
Yeah. Paimon feels like we'd only regret it if we don't see this...
Thank you.
I bet Boss would lose his mind if he ever...
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained, we can't afford to turn down someone as powerful.
He can think whatever he wants. But the fact is...
Dodge this! With the wind! Freeze!
You're in for a little
Wind blade! Dodge this! Ah! Ha! Ha! Ha!
Is this the entrance? We sure didn't run into much trouble on the way here. Wow. Paimon didn't expect it to look like this on the...
They should all be holed up in here. Don't know how...
Who cares? We'll round up all of them.
Still, we should be careful. Even if they've only got...
Yeah, we'll know what they're really capable. Deshret's relics may have been a force to be reckoned with before.
Yeah, they don't stand a chance with...
You are not welcome here.
Take that!
Freeze!
Book alive!
Cool it!
Gloves off!
I'll take
Buckle up!
Where do you think you're
I'm getting sick of this man.
Dodge this!
Let's get it on!
I'll be back.
This way, follow me. We're almost there.
Wait! They went charging ahead without checking for any traps!
Hey, you guys okay?
It seems like we just got trapped in here. Don't think we...
Watch out, the enemy's coming from ahead.
Well, now that things have come to this, seems...
Don't worry about us. We knew something like this. Let's go! We can't let the boss down.
Let's check if there's another way! The sooner we can make...
Let's see. I think I see a way through over there, but it's being
Okay, let's...
You asked for it. Another mechanism like the one before, but this one's being blocked off in the middle.
We just need to adjust it a little.
Let's get it on! Hi!
Freeze! Disappear!
Gloves off! Buckle up!
Oh, so sorry.
Try not to enjoy this.
Let's get it on!
Let it rain.
You're dead meat!
I wasn't expecting anyone to make it, but as a desert dweller, I suppose we should be used to our
Don't waste your breath. You have nowhere.
Run. Had I wanted to run, I witnessed the golden age of Deshret's relics. Even if I could leave this place behind, all that awaits me now are endless days of humiliation and ruin. Even now, my brothers and I, the greatest, should never live to remember them.
So you want to go out in a blaze?
Let us draw! They are but two. Wave 1, charge! Eliminate them!
Where do you think you're going? I'll be back. I'll take my leave. Take that. I'll take I'll be back.
Don't think that you've won. We're just getting started.
Testing my patience. Pulverize! We'll meet again.
Look alive!
King Deshret will not abandon any one of his followers.
No one escapes my sight!
My patience.
Let's get it on!
Gotcha. I'll take it again.
Disappear!
Buckle up!
Brothers! With me, this is where we prove our faith.
You all just wanna die?
None of us plan to leave this place alive!
Freeze! This moment will be frozen.
Stretch your wings and raise a storm! Let's get it on! What do you think you're doing?
Cool it!
With the wind!
The golden slumber.
The commander has finally fallen.
But they're still coming at us! This place is like a gladiator's ring. They just keep coming no matter—
Yes! Keep fighting! There's no need to fear!
When the next wave comes, try to draw. I'm going to see if I can take out that high.
Get out of my way!
Come and face me, Michel! So they've broken through the front.
Apologies, Lord Michal. They fight like absolute...
So, it would seem...
Time to pay for everything you've done.
You think I will be buried in the sand?
Hey, wait!
We were too late.
It's over. There's no more need to... But if you're still going to cling on to your so-called mercenary's pride, then I'll give you all a...
Hey, dear! I found the mechanism. I'll get you all back up here right away.
Let's go.
Who are you filthy rats? And why are you always pestering us?
You call yourself a member of the infamous Deshret's relics, and you still can't even tell who's made it all the way...
Who knows what intent a bunch of rats may have? We try to catch a couple, and you all just show up on the other side.
Hey, have you ever heard of a man by the name of Kusela?
Why would I know? It's not like...
This is your last chance to talk.
Hey, I said I don't know anything. I'm just an average member. If you're here to find someone, why don't you look through the records yourselves? Who can remember every name and face with so many people?
The irony. His life became a light for so many, yet to others... Where's the records room?
It's right over there.
I mean the
old records room? You mean Kusela? Ah, yeah, I remember him now.
Watch your mouth. That's our boss you're talking about.
He was definitely faking it. We all let our guard down as soon as we saw him come hobbling in. But in the short time it supposedly took him to take a dump, he'd already gotten away and started a fire. He couldn't have possibly outrun us if he wasn't And after that, Deshret's relics fell into complete...
Stop wasting our time. Every one of us... Tell me, where is the...
It's just over there. Go... There's nothing left in there but ashes. No human...
Bashar, Tikriti, let's go. We'll spare them no mercy if...
So, this was his final destination. How did he do it? Getting past all the guards with a limp and... If he was nimble enough to do that, then he must have been able to get out of here.
Tia.
I'm sorry. I know it's just wishful...
Is this a cane?
Kusela.
Thanks for everything, boss.
We're fortunate to somehow find that cane after that fire.
Let's split up and look around some more.
But what else could survive a fire like that?
Huh? Thought so.
Wait! Isn't that the toy sword you played with as a child?
The dragon is no more, for Princess Dia has slain it. Its head now hangs above the city gates. Her bravery has brought eternal peace and prosperity to us all. Dia, come on. This is the most important line.
You can do it.
But Dia, you defeated the dragon. Everyone's waiting for your speech. Still too shy, huh? All right, I'll do it. I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more.
I hereby proclaim our victory. Evil shall plague us no more, Dad. What's this?
Don't you remember? You asked and Paimon said that she would get boatloads of tasty snacks. You looked super confused at the time. These opportunities don't come by often. So today, Paimon's gonna treat... Hey! This way you get something for... Anyway, the point is that you should eat... Dunyarzad will also be here shortly.
Aw, thanks you two. Honestly, this is... My chest was filled with all kinds of intense emotions. They just shook me even more than all the... But when everything came to an end, those emotions also vanished without a trace. It was as if I'd lost the thing that was most important to me. Yeah, you're right. To many mercenaries, Mora is the most important. Idrisi and the others all used to say that they would quit if there was no Mora to be had. But when it came to avenging my father, there was no Mora to be made anywhere. My reality shattered when I found out that the father who always told me hero stories was in fact a bad... Despite all my promises about never forgiving him and never trying to understand him, I still went to such lengths to find out the truth. We're hypocrites. All of us. Yeah, you're right. It's...
You're back! Are all of you alright?
Ah, there she is.
Yeah. Many people from the Corps of 30 came over, and I just wrapped up everything. Huh?
Paimon will explain. A lot happened while we were gone.
I'm sorry. I really should have controlled my emotions better. I just...
It's all right, my lady. You were hurt by all of this as well. Truth be...
Dia, your pain must be even worse. You shouldn't need to come...
Hey, don't worry about me. If anything, my father probably thought that people could settle into new lives as long as they moved to a new environment. That thought has even crossed my mind a few times. However, there was always something deep within my mind that refused to accept it. This impulse brought me great turmoil, and even made me feel... But now that I consider it again, it all makes sense. The desert sands are a part of who I am. And
I understand.
That doesn't mean I won't be making any changes to my life, though. As an example, it's just like Idrisi said. I also want to catch up to my father, and become a... Even if the ending of the story may be childish and ridiculous.
Isn't that neat, though? Oh, you'll be a whole new kind of mercenary, one that's not out for more. Why don't we go for a change of scenery once we finish eating? What about stopping by the Grand Bazaar again?
Right. You said you wanted to get a rug for your family.
We'll come along too.
I can't thank you enough.
this rug here is quite something. The craftsmanship is exquisite, and the fabric is also of high quality.
Ah, here you are. Finally, I found you.
Hey! Aren't you that mercenary who bit his tongue? Wait, are you here to take revenge?
What are you talking about? Do I look like I could take you all in a fight? I just came here to give you something. I'll be on. Once I woke up, I hurried to the Khan al-Ahmar's camp, hoping to alert them to your. But when I got there, I found no one except the members who were still too injured to move.
Ah, so you probably got there.
Yeah, they told me that they had exacted their revenge, and everyone had turned themselves in to the authorities. Even that last camp was not going to last for much longer. I had joined the cause to repay an old favor from Kusela. Now that everyone's already turned themselves in, one of the injured members gave this box to me and told me that it contained some of the old men. Everything left in the camp will get confiscated, so I figured I should get this to you before the court.
Thank you.
No worries. We are all just living our own truths. There's no need to comment or judge anyone for it.
So this box contains everything that Dia's father left behind. Huh. If you...
Well, back in the day, the first thing he did with any more... But let's see what's inside. What's this? It's just a bunch of junk.
Perhaps it's just been left unopened.
A handwritten copy of a storybook. The paper's already yellow. It was against the Academia's rules to possess books for personal use. If he was going to break that rule, he could...
That probably means...
And here are a few bags of children's snacks. The packaging's completely deteriorated. Maybe that's where the smell was coming from.
Did he get those for you?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Even when I was a child, I was never a fan of these. Who even leaves snacks in a box like this anyway? Forget it. Let me see what else is in here. A razor, some buttons, some round iron tile, a wool scarf, which, from the looks of it, probably belonged to a woman. I'm sorry, my lady, but this is just the kind of man he was. He probably saw this box as some kind of personal trash heap and 2 empty liquor bottles.
Huh? There's something in the bottle!
Oh, you're right. All right, I got it out. It seems to be a piece of paper with some writing on it. The bottom part's all damaged from moisture, though. Let's hope the writing didn't smudge. I was suddenly seized with an urge to write a letter after finishing this bottle. I just folded it up and left it in the bottle, though. If I end up to Dia... It's a letter from... It's all right. I'll just read it out. If he went to the trouble of writing a letter, there must have been some...
My condition's becoming worse and worse. Can't even walk without a cane anymore, much less go out and have fun. Guess I don't have... If you're reading this letter, then I suppose I'm already long gone. You were adorable as a baby. Everyone loved you. And regardless of whether you were crying or laughing, everyone enjoyed having you in the group. But once you grew a bit older, you were no longer nearly as happy or cute. It's probably Idrisi's fault.
Can you believe this guy? He can point the finger at himself.
Anyway, back to the point. To summarize, I'm writing this so you would know not to feel sad for me, even if you end up finding out the truth. The reason being that I was never your father to begin with.
Wait, what?
Surely, he must be...
I don't know.
I was quite formidable when I was young, and 100 times cooler than some so-called flight. Really felt like the whole world was under my feet. With just a teeny tiny bit of effort, I felt I could. But as fate would have it, I went out into the desert for a drink one day and discovered a baby in the sands. It was you. You were just lying there, small and helpless, but your cries were so loud they made my head hurt. Now that I think of it, you really were a bundle of energy.
Sounds like he's serious.
I told Idrisi and the others that I had slipped up with a woman while out and about. None of them even doubted me. I'm sorry that I had to lie to them for so long, but I really had no other choice. I was their most esteemed leader, after all. It's not like I could just tell them that I suddenly wanted to play at being a father. At this rate, I'll puke up all the liquor I just... Anyway, dear, you possess the kind of freedom and kindness that we could only dream of. As far as how you should live your life, that'll be up to you to decide.
That's the end of the letter. In the end, he was still thinking of me as a little child. I suppose, or I would have suffocated under the sand a long time ago.
He was a good father to you. The fact that he wasn't a...
Yeah. It's just a...
Do you already have some ideas about the decision?
I do. If he first found me alone in the sand, I just have one wish. That there once existed a childish and that only under his care was I able to grow and mature.
If you end up finding any leads, can you share them with us? We go on adventures all the...
Sure, I appreciate it. I wasn't expecting you to be so enthusiastic.
I'll help too.
Thank you. All of you. My life has certainly had its twists and turns, but I've always... Because no matter where I've gone, I've always been surrounded by incredible kindness.